So welcome everyone. Great to have another webinar, and I'm very happy. It's always great to have friends around, and Roni is one of them. We've met each other on different conferences, and Roni is a very well-known sommelier in Germany. I think you've written a book even.
Yeah, that's correct. The
Yeah.
Amazon SEO code was the first German book about Amazon algorithm things and
In
marketing.
1845, somewhere like that, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
was like discovering the internet at all. Yeah, yeah.
so that's how knowledgeable is the guest today. And I love to start with a fun fact about yourself. So did you prepare a fun fact to share about yourself?
Yeah, I assume there are a lot of fun facts, but as we got in touch the first time, this was the in person on the conference in what was it, Berlin? Berlin?
Must be in Berlin. Yep.
Yeah, something like this. And I just felt really exhausted that day because, less sleep because of my one child, my one daughter. And we sit at this table with this guy from Roto, you know this one, the Frank guy.
Yeah.
And I was really surprised that in my industry field, it's possible to have 4 children like he has. It was just really surprising for me. And then you were sitting next to me and you told me you have 6 children. I just really freaked out there because I really felt exhausted with only one child and in this really kind of exhausting industry with a lot of things going on to take care of and all these things. And as I told you, and I really meant it, you are my personal heroes, like managing a small kindergarten in your home and just doing just like a successful business. It was really, really amazing, and it was kind of motivating for me too. So this was really my fun fact for this year. Maybe there's just.
So it's actually a fun fact about us too. So well done for that. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm really an example, but yeah, so it's like things happen, and you don't know. It's like you start a company, and then all of a sudden there's a lot of people around you, and you don't know what really happened. So that's a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the same feeling with only one child, but as I told you, it's just a really and surprising thing, like managing so many people around your home. So yeah, it was really, and it still is one of my favorite things I learned this year.
Well, thank you very much. It's a good management crash course for you to
Yeah,
learn. Yeah, so it's
absolutely.
indeed I've learned a lot. So apart from the fun fact, which was great, is like talk about yourself and about Into Markets, your agency also.
Yeah, just having a short intro into my personal things here. I studied business administration. That was a lot of years ago, and I just quit this and went on with media and art. So this was my real passion at this time. And after this studying, I had my first job as an art director in a bigger online shop business. And this was also my first contact with Amazon, like in 2010, I guess, around that time. And this was the first time I experienced that Amazon could be the next big thing in Germany and in the entire online e-commerce business. And I went on to starting an own online shop in 2014. Didn't work out because I thought that Amazon wouldn't be that important for my business. I just could do it without Amazon. But this was really a big mistake. But just what everybody who just experienced the e-commerce online marketing things just do mistakes. This is just a normal thing. I co-founded ShopDoc. Maybe you heard of this tool. This is kind of a famous tool around Germany. It's just an Amazon Analytics tool. And I just quit this one and moved back to Hamburg. My favorite place to live here in Germany. Is just one of the most beautiful cities around here in this country. And at this time, 2016, I founded To Markets. It's just a part of a bigger company. We are kind of a business center, profit center, call it what you like. This is just a kind of a company within a company, something like this. And right now we are around 20 employees, and in the German-speaking area, we're one of the well-known Amazon agencies. And this is also what Amazon tell us every time we just have this audit with them, with these guys from Munich. yeah, we're just doing all these typical Amazon stuff, things like SEO, PPC, DSP, consulting, and inventory management, account management. You know, all of this. This is just the typical basic stuff we do here. But yeah, I'm really proud of my team here and what we achieved the last 4 years. This is where we stand right now.
And if you were to say in a sentence what makes you different to other agencies, or why, like there's a lot of very good agencies in our space from different countries, and I know your agency is great, but and if someone was meeting you, why would you say yours specifically, or to which people, what could be the tilting point of what would be mostly attracting for them?
Yeah, I mean, this is this typical elevator pitch, and it's really hard to say, to be honest. And this is typical for German guys as well. They just always underestimate themselves. So, to
True.
be honest, there are around maybe 4 to 5 agencies like we are, who are operating on the same thing and achieving the same goals, like really good managed PPC campaigns and all these things. And we really learned a lot about structure and how to, yeah, develop an Amazon business. It's really that we dig deep into it, and our only focus, this is kind of risky too, but this is where we stand right now. Our only focus is on Amazon. And we learn a lot about brands and manufacturers, so bigger sellers and something like this. And we really focus on only this kind of business. So just within Amazon, just this special field here. And in this specific area, only the bigger ones. Yeah, this is just a special thing, because bigger concerns, bigger companies have different goals and different yeah, things to achieve than a smaller sized company could achieve or could move faster or something. So we are really a focused Amazon bigger brand agency, and build a lot of structure to yeah, to just onboard very rapidly and a new business, or just move forward with this and develop this and all these things. So it's hard to tell, but in this area, around 150 agencies are launched in Germany. So this is the situation right now. We just call themselves like Amazon agency, but I assume that only a really small portion of this, like 5 or 4 agencies, are really professional. And I'm really proud that we're one of them. So this is what the Amazon guys judge about us.
Yeah, and I would certainly say the same thing about you guys. So thanks for the introduction. What let's talk about Germany and the German market. Would like when we talk, and we all know that Amazon is pretty much the same, and that's what it makes so easy to work with Amazon, is that the Amazon US and Amazon Germany in terms of what they're offering is more or less the same. But what is specific? What would you say for someone who wants to expand into Germany? What is specific to Germany?
Yeah, first of all, you have to look to the entire e-commerce market. So when you just have this oversight about over Europe, Germany is one of the biggest markets here in the B2C consumer market, something like this. Should be around 60 billion euro a year in the total revenue in this e-commerce thing, and Amazon shares about 50%. It's still increasing. So I guess in the future, like in the next 2 or 3 years, we will have Amazon around this 60 or 70 share, if nothing else happens, or like Otto or any other marketplace just grow rapidly there and fight against Amazon. But this won't happen.
So, and who are the others? So you would have Otto,
yeah,
maybe Rakuten.
Rakuten is not important here in Germany.
Okay.
Just more Europe or Japan. But we have Real.de. Real is one of the bigger discounters here in the retail business, and they started in marketplace. I guess it was 2 years ago, and they are really doing a good job here. And in some cases, Real.de could be just a second strategy to just launch your products and sell your products. We have some fashion-based, only fashion-based things like Zalando.
Yeah.
Notebooks billiger. This is just all about laptops and computers and so. So in special fields, there are special marketplaces and for example, pet stores. We have one really famous and big one here, Fressnapf. it's called. So it's all about pet supply and so such things. They are really huge and fast growing. So this is what Amazon has to face here. But when it comes to general things and household and electronic things, books, of course, and all these things, Amazon is just dominating the market here.
And 50% is quite huge. Like,
yeah, when you just want to just retransform this phrase here and say every single euro which is spent in the e-commerce field in Germany is just all about Amazon. So it's really a huge market here. I know in France there's a Cdiscount. It's just a really big competitor. And in Germany, we don't have this one big competitor compared to Amazon. So there's some smaller ones in matter of revenue, but in this case, Amazon is just huge and really dominating here.
Yeah, that's clear. So actually, when you want to address your German market already, if you have Amazon, you're in a good place. So a good strategy would be to start on Amazon and maybe look at Otto or Real.de or.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there are, and this is not only specific to Germany, there are a lot of good tools to manage your product feeds, for example, like an ERP tool or something, and man of the middle tools. So when you want to launch on different marketplaces like Amazon, Otto, and these things you mentioned, you should have this kind of tool management things to automate your feed, and so they don't have to care about all these small things.
And would you recommend some tools you know about? Which
no, not really, because this is not my specialty here.
Okay.
I heard a lot of tools here, and they're pretty good, but I really can't judge about this because I don't have any experience in practical matter.
And one topic, if we go on the tool subject, is I know that a lot of tools like Amazon is not very stable on the brand side. On the like customer side, it's very stable, but on our side it's not very stable, and cataloging can be very complicated. Do you know of any tools which are working well, like cataloging tools which typically work with other marketplaces? And there are a few. Have you had the experience and you think it's a good idea to use a tool, or would you say manual work is still the best option?
It really it just depends on the situation you are in or you have to face. There are a lot of good tools here, but when it comes to managing the data feed for Amazon and optimizing all the product data and all these things, Amazon, and this is not just only the thing here in Germany, the situation is all over the world. Amazon behind the door, so like in the back door area, something behind the structure, it's not really a structure. They have really terrible and awful processes. They have different technical issues in categories. So in some categories, you have to fill in 5 bullet points. In some categories, you can't manage any bullet point for a vendor account, for example. And this makes it really hard to just have this one tool for everything. Because in the end, when you just want to do this really professionally, you have to just dig deep and do it manually, or just for example, hire an agency or some guys who could do the work for you. Because when you just miss keywords and important content on your product detail pages, then it's just a disadvantage and withdraw for your PPC campaigns and SEO visibility and all these things. So in the end, I assume still it's really important to do it manually and just at least check it manually and just have some small adjustments here.
Okay. Great, thanks for that. One question about the German customers. Do you believe there is a way you need to address, like when you're creating content and you do copywriting, is there a way specifically of how to address or how to speak to your German audience? I'm not talking about obviously if it's an audio lover or there are ways, but would you say, okay, if typically you've got a brand which has got content in English and you translate it into German, is there a way you want, like a tone or ways you want to present the content a bit differently than other countries?
Maybe. Also, again, it just depends on the category and which kind of brand and products you're selling or want to sell. In some cases, German customers could really be picky about details. So like we really, see when there's not really an added value to the content and when it's really generic or something. It could be
So
just
no bullshit, you mean?
yeah, no bullshit. Yeah, in some cases, of course. But on the other hand, when I see how the Chinese sellers are yeah, dominating some categories with really bullshit content, like I mean, the pictures are sometimes really great and sometimes better than bigger brands. I made a video about this recently. And when it comes to written content like SEO and product details, it's really shitty. I mean, really shitty. Like false information and really bad and automated translations and the product, and you can really measure this with tools. I'm sure you know about how to do this. You can really measure that these kind of shitty products are selling really good in the Amazon marketplace DE. So in some special cases, like for example, fashion or electronic goods, when it's a little bit more expensive, or pet supplies, because this is all about German housewives, for example, they're a little bit more picky and want to be convinced of the product and want to have more details and like really lovely language and some small details. And hey, this is a lovely product for your dog or a cat or something. In this case, it's just all about detail and really high sophisticated language. But in so many other cases, it's not really important.
So yeah, so what I would note from that is attention to details is probably a winning point. Yeah,
because this is typical for German guys. You know, it's just yeah, we just a really detail-loved person here, and really want to dig deep and want to be convinced, want to be yeah, charmed by the content. In some cases, yeah.
It's great. It's better you say it than me. Then,
of course, because it's more honestly when it's coming from me. Of course, yeah.
So I'm getting late on question. We've got a few questions. What about you? So that one I didn't understand. But in comparison to Zalando, how would you rank Amazon in Germany when it comes to fashion?
Oh, Amazon is still behind, I would say, because Zalando is more the better looking and more explanational thing where you want to explore a product, you want to have this really nice experience, like different recommendations, like outfits and something like this. You want to have, for example, want to buy a dress and want to see the best fitting shoes compared or just connected to the dress, for example. It's more about recommendation things, and there Zalando is just way better. Amazon is still fighting to just achieve the same thing here, and they just did a lot in the last years, but it's really kind of not that good looking platform when I'm really honest, because Zalando is just really nice looking and really better organized and better structured here when it comes to fashion. So when I want to compare these two things, Amazon is just like 30% of Zalando. Like
okay, if in terms of market share, you would say like it's a 70-30 thing between Zalando and Amazon?
Yeah, when I just look into our accounts, for example, we supporting Puma on Amazon and the entire Europe marketplace in 5 marketplaces. And of course, they are selling their products at Zalando as well, and Otto and all these bigger marketplaces. And what they told us and what we see in other cases as well, Zalando is way just more important than Amazon is, because Amazon is just not the fashion platform.
And yeah, and so there's no official like market share information between.
Not really, because Amazon is not really open to.
They're not sharing, that's for sure. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's no really steady or really serious number I could share here, but it's just a feeling and an experience with other clients. Or
like the 70-30 rule, you think is?
I would guess so.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Wow, impressive. So, if you have a brand with like clothing of any fashion product, you would need to look into Zalando then, maybe.
No, I won't, because I am just an Amazon fanboy, and I still believe that these 30% you can just do a really successful.
Okay.
When you just manage this professionally and just have this kind of really specific strategy. What do you want to achieve there? It's just a market share or something like this. Yeah.
And that I find that very interesting. So despite those 30-70 rule, you would still say to a brand, okay, which probably hasn't got a very big distribution set up, and let's say they online only, you would tell them, okay, stay only on Amazon and don't go on Zalando, just to make it simple, or what would be your
No, no, you just do both sides here. But of course, I'm the Amazon expert, so I can't
Yeah.
help you with Zalando. But for example, there's one other platform which is really growing rapidly here. It's About You. It's a daughter company or something like a smaller thing of the auto concern. So it's just one of the really biggest players here in Germany. But when it comes to marketing, professional marketing, like PPC campaigns or display campaigns, and all these things, like in self-service mode, Zalando and About You and all the other platforms are not really on the same level like Amazon is. So you could really manage your campaigns like you want and everything else. And you want to, for example, spend a specific budget for only one product in only one case, you could do this better on Amazon and not on Zalando and About You. But you have to be an expert in different cases here in different marketplaces.
So could we say that in terms of branding, Amazon is probably the best solution, but in terms of sales, having more sales, Zalando and About You are probably the best avenues just in terms of sales. Okay.
Yeah, when we do it simple here, yeah, could say this, yeah.
Okay, great. And so, sorry, yeah, I didn't know About You. So the question was, what about You? So I hadn't understood. So now I understand About You is a competitor of Zalando. So thank you for
Yeah.
the answer from the anonymous attendee who's just given me that. I've got a couple of other questions. Is how important are international customers for the German market share versus German shopping on Amazon.de? I remember when we were at the conference in Berlin that the information was that half of the keywords on the back end of the Amazon.de was all English, that a bulk of the customer coming were English speaking. Is that correct?
No, I wouldn't say so, because telling from the experience the last 5 years doing this professional Amazon business, and I don't know how many products we optimized over the last years. I guess at least 30,000 or more. So it was really it still is a huge number. Of course, there are some cases when it comes to technical products like a USB or cameras and all these things. There are some small and specific words which are, of course, in English because the manufacturer are more international. And I know that there's this rumor around this. You have to fill in some English keywords, but that's not really true from my perspective, because this is just coming out from tools. So there's tool-based data here, like when you just do keyword research and analyze in ShopDoc and analytics and all these tools around here. Or for example, Helium 10 is getting really important here in Germany as well. These tools are only tools. So in this case, when I talk about in buyer perspective, for example, no German buyer would just look for English keywords here when it's not really a USP or a function of the product. So I would argue this is just completely bullshit.
Okay, because arguingly what people were saying is that Polish customers, Czech Republic, Czech customers, or Danish or from Scandinavia, and a lot of people which don't have a local Amazon would go to Amazon Germany. Yeah. And that therefore the English part of the content is very important. So you would not say that this is a very big part and that actually the German part is like an overwhelming part. Would you say that?
Exactly, because when you want to look into the numbers to have a proof here, that's the number we got from Amazon. It's around 50 million active accounts in Germany. So Amazon DE German accounts, like some of this, 50 million active accounts. That's also the number of potential reach of the Amazon DSP. We could just, for example, do some.
That 50 million prime or not? Is prime and non-prime?
Not prime, of course not, because Germany has around 80 million people living here. So that would be just really a tremendous number to have 50 million prime accounts. But active accounts means, and I remember that right, you have to at least do once one buy or something. You have to buy something like one time in a year for at least 50 euros, something like this.
To be active.
So this counts as an active account or something. And of course, there are some minor groups buying from the outside from Germany, and this is true, of course. But what I always say to my clients and customers here, focus on the major part. Which target group is the bigger one? Is this the Polish people or coming from Denmark or something like this? Because they don't have a marketplace here. Because maybe this is changing in the future. There are rumors around, but in this case, the German people living in Germany have a German account here and want to speak German and search German are still just ruling or dominating, of course. And this is just where we focus our keyword research.
And so on that point, what would be your, what's your intuition about those 50 million? Do you think it's 90% in Germany? Do you think it's 60% or what's your?
This is really hard to tell. I mean, to be honest, I don't have a clue because this is the number coming from Amazon and there's no specific details about this. But also, again, just when you talk about a feeling, I would say at least, what is it, 70 or 80% are German accounts. Because when I look into our statistics with our clients, acting in Germany, selling in Germany, it's just that the number is tremendous of German buyers. But I really can't tell you here the truth. This is just all about Amazon.
Okay, and I have another question, and I've got loads of other questions I need to address. But like we know, and especially I have a business account, and I have the option to have it then the pages in German or the pages in English, and I think I could even have them in Dutch or in other languages. Like for a brand who's having its product in Germany, do you think it's really important to also upload the English content to make sure it's also available in English? Because even if like the focus is still German, it's like you're probably losing an opportunity for the English speaking customers, because you do have a lot of Americans. Well, if Trump doesn't send them all back, but you do have a lot of English speaking people still in Germany, right? And plus the people outside. Does it make sense to upload also content in English for the German part, like for the translation part?
No, I wouldn't say so. So it's again about the major target group you want to focus on. So, for example, when you are a middle-sized company and you only have limited resources, like so many sellers and vendors actually have here, this is just the situation. You have to focus your people and your budget and all your effort you want to put in your product and optimization and PPC and all these things into what is really worth it. So meaning like when you just have, for example, 80 million people living here and around 50 million accounts, for example, are potential buyers of your product, for example, just to make it simple. And around 10% are English speaking people and 90% are German speaking people. Of course, 10% of 50 million are still 5 million people. It's a lot, but there are 45 million people could just buy your product here. So when you have limited resources, focus on the bigger part here, the bigger part of the cake.
But let's say, so when you start clear, you need to focus on the big picture and on like the biggest market. Let's say you are a brand, you're established, your content is great on the German side, and you say, okay, how can you go into the icing, like icing of the cake, and you say, okay, I'll look into DSP, I'll look into different things, and I would typically say, okay, but it's probably a good thing to look at the English, like in terms of getting more market share, is trying to tap into those 5%. Do you think that makes sense? Like not at first, but a bit further down the line, or I get the feeling you're not convinced by that.
Yeah. Just again, it depends on the category and your goals. For example, it's a better solution to just, for example, expand your business to other countries, not just focus on the 5% or 10% living here, speak, for example, English or French or something. So it could be the better approach to, for example, measure or just have a look on France, for example, or UK, and just try to settle down your business there. Or the second option would be, for example, look into other marketplaces like real.de, what I told you about before.
So it's like it's focusing on really the German customer.
That's what I would do when I would be a seller or I would be responsible for a brand or something. I would not just dig into the 5%. I would always focus on the bigger part here, always.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. So let me get into the questions. I have loads of questions coming up to me. So So yeah, we answered that. Uh, uh, yeah, sorry. When so when will be that's a good one. When will be Prime Day?
Ooh.
Beginning of October or end of September?
Uh,
Da-da-da-da.
yeah,
Suspense.
when I would know this really, really seriously, I just could do a really big business with this because this date isn't really launched yet. But everything what I heard of, and from coming from also from our context from Amazon headquarters in Munich, it's all about September. That's what they're preparing for, and usually Amazon just do this kind of agency workshops with the bigger ones. They're inviting them and say, okay, this is just changing for this year, and please take care of this. I mean, there are not really much new important information here, but what I see here that these kind of trainings are in September, and this is usually just a week or two before Prime Day happens, or just launching or something. But I'm not really, I can't really tell here, but I'm pretty sure it should be in September, just right after.
Yeah, that we've heard through the grapevine that September sounds like the most probable thing, but true, there's no official information. So
Exactly.
you didn't. There's no. You don't have any secrets here. You can't. You can deliver. What a shame.
No, no, honestly, I don't have. And if I would have some secrets, I
You
wouldn't
wouldn't say.
my relationship to Amazon to yeah.
True, true. But it's only between us. Don't worry.
Yeah, and then we have six visitors here. Maybe just close your eyes and shut down your ears. So, no, I really can't tell you here. Yeah.
Okay, very good. A tough question. How many keywords are relevant when it comes to search? Is there a cap? Would there be a 50-50, including also English keywords?
Um, yeah, specifically when it comes to title or bullet points, or just the entire content, or what is the question about?
How many keywords are relevant when it comes to search? I think it's search advertising. I would assume, or if it's search, maybe because like there's no cap when you're doing advertising, right? For
No, of course not.
keywords.
There is an really huge cap when you, for example, have around millions of campaigns running at the same time. There could be a capping or something, but there's no real cap regarding to the keywords. Because, for example, what we always do with our PPC campaigns to have this really big data approach and launch a lot of PPC campaigns. For example, one product, 5 campaigns only when it comes to sponsored product ads. And in some cases, we only have a few keywords because the product is so special, like, for example, 10 or 20 keywords. In some cases, this product is so general, like a shoe or something, the sports shoe, and a unisex sports shoe, for example. In this case, we could have thousands of keywords which are important. The most important hint I could give here is that you should have always this big data approach, and then just let's do Amazon, just the Amazon algorithm should do the rest here. So like setting up your PPC campaigns, automate this with bid management software, for example, and then let's just run it and don't touch it for at least 3 months. And you would just easily see which keywords are converting with your products and which are really relevant and important. So let's Amazon decide, let's the algorithm decide which and how many keywords are important here. So
sure. I think it was also to the content, product content. On the English side, you did say, okay, you should focus on German. And then I think in terms of cap of how many keywords you put is how much sense your sentence will make. Like you do have Chinese products which put all the keywords after, and then the title doesn't make any sense.
yeah, I mean, just have a human look on your content. That's what I would recommend here. Of course, you have to balance between algorithm and real human buyer. But for example, just to be specific here, when it comes to product title, what we always recommend to have at least, or just at least maximum, 3 major keywords here. Like for example, you're selling shoe. This is a sports shoe, football shoe, and for example, a running shoe. So you have 3 different keywords, and that's just enough, because when you just do keyword stuffing here, maybe the algorithm is just still stupid, of course, and he or just she, I don't know, it would just index all the keywords. But it could be just an withdraw and really a disadvantage with when it comes to real buyer, because it's just not reading really nice, or just in a really good conversion way. So, for example, a title, I would recommend 3 keywords. And then it's really depending on the product, how important it is to just have this really kind of long description and mentioning all the USPs and all these things. It's really a balancing between human and machine.
Yeah, I love the. I always say that I prefer meaning to as SEO. That like if you can have less words but more meaning, less keywords and more meaning is probably more interesting.
Yeah, but the other side of the story is just when your product isn't found. So when the algorithm wouldn't index enough keywords, you could have the best content, the best pictures, and even the best product. Amazon is a search engine, and it's the same thing in Germany as it is in every other marketplace.
So it's a fine line between both. Yeah. I have
Absolutely.
another question, and this one is interesting because we had a workshop about AVS a few weeks ago. And is it worth paying an AVS, or should one rather go for 3PL? I don't see like AVS doesn't go against 3PL, but do you think it's worth having an AVS?
Yeah, I do. Because all my experience with Amazon managing the account and managing the content and creating the content was really awful the last years, to be just honest. So I guess there are a lot of good guys around the AVS service in this department, but from my experience, from our experience as an agency, it was never a good thing. So in this case,
Yeah, so you would recommend to have an agency. Obviously, we're biased.
it really depends how big you are and how big your budget is. For example, when you are a smaller seller, like you have 4 or 5 products, you don't need an agency. You just could do this yourself, and it would be still better. There are a lot of good resources out there, and study this. Just invest a couple of days, and you could do it better, like the ABS could do.
So you would say that AVS is oversold on Amazon side?
100%, 100%.
Okay, so that's at least as clear and precise.
Yeah.
Another question, how can we avoid sales drop as end customers are expecting product details? Okay, it's about Prime Day. How can we avoid sales drop as in consumers are expecting Prime Day in July and there's no official announcements from Amazon side?
When I get it right, so how you could just achieve the same sales in July without Prime Day?
No, sorry, there was a few letters were missing, so it was difficult to understand. So no, the point was like a lot of customers were used to have Prime Days in July or are expecting it. So the question is, how can we make it not lose too much sales in July? And like the communication has been a bit messy up to now from Amazon because there's no information whatsoever if it's in July or in September. Is there a way where you would say to brands, okay, how can you sort of prepare or try to minor the fact that July is probably not going to be a big sale a month as you're used to have in Prime Day, and that having Prime in September so close to Black Friday, how would you articulate that?
I mean, it depends on your goals. When profitability is one of your goals, you just should look into your PPC campaigns and maybe invest in a little bit more budget. But from our experience, June and July are in most cases, in most categories, the worst months to just make revenue here. And you can't force people to buy on Amazon. And the Corona situation all over the world just changes a lot. And it's really uncertain how the summer goes. But when I look into my revenue as an agency, our most important months are the last 4 to 5 in the year. So it's just the same thing where a lot of sellers, vendors make a lot of revenue. So of course you will, and this is just the simple truth, you will just have a revenue drop in July without the Prime Day. There's no real, I don't know, mechanism or leverage or something you just could pull or do. To just keep up your revenue like it was with the Prime Day. So without a Prime Day, there will be a drop. Prepare this and just live with it. It's just there's no way around it. This is just the only truth.
Okay, so face the facts, face the truth. Yeah. Is there a difference when it comes to matching in Germany in comparison to EU-wide? Is there a different kind of matching in Germany?
Matching regarding what? I mean, product
Okay,
detail.
could you write down the person who asked about matching, could you clarify what you mean by matching? We'll take another question for now. Do you see much potential of growth from the Amazon Fresh? As Amazon is still stuck with the same cities for a long time and players such as Picnic or other are growing. How do you see Fresh, which is the food part, right?
This is quite a really good question and really interesting market field here. What I know is that Amazon, the fresh department of Amazon is in Berlin. This is quite the headquarter of the innovation department of Amazon here in Germany. And they're doing a lot of things on research. And for example, they want to have a measurement, automated measurement for the freshness of the products, for example, like fruits and vegetables and all these things. Actually, we supported, this was the former years, and really big, vendor brand who are in the fresh business. And to be honest, it was talking from the point right now, it was not really that successful. It was not because we did just a shitty job. It was really that the Amazon buyers were not really ready to buy fruits and all of these food stuff and food goods on Amazon. But I guess it will be more important in the future, because when you're just talking about Germany, there's only one retailer who just do this delivery part. It's Rewe. Have you heard of this? It's one of the biggest discounters here. And they have this online shop as well. And nobody else has, for example. And in this case, Amazon's quite alone on this part here. But Fresh is still available, if I'm not incorrect here, in only a few major capital cities here in Germany.
From Munich, Berlin,
Hamburg still, of course, and it's great service. We tested it a lot here in our agency, and sometimes it's really awesome. For example, you ordered ice cream on Amazon Fresh, like in around 6 p.m. and it's delivered in 8 a.m. the next morning. So it's just a really awesome service. And I think when it comes to logistics and all these things, Amazon has to do just a little bit more homework here to just have a really good and reliable logistics service to just keep up their promise that Fresh is still kind of the next thing where you could buy food stuff on Amazon, or at least in the entire e-commerce business. So it will be important. Right now, when I'm talking about Germany, it's not really that important.
Another question is, that's one of the topic is your government, like the German government, has decided to reduce the VAT to mostly to help sales of cars, if I understand well. It's because the VAT amount on cars is very important, so that's where the most. But that is also for all products to like boost a bit the economy, which I think it's really good for the economy itself. But now it comes down to like sellers, mostly sellers, because vendors wouldn't have the problem, but sellers is what to do. What would you advise then to sellers like from July 1st? Will Amazon lower their prices? Should you do it yourselves? What would be your approach on that?
It's really uncertain, because we had this 16% in the former years here. It's just kind of back to the roots again. At this time, I was just quite too young to just measure how this impact was as they raised the tax to 19%. But in the end, I assume, but this is just only assumption, that it won't change a lot, because we're talking about 3%, a few percent of the sales price, for example. And I assume the overall the sales prices will stay the same. They will remain on the level. It's only about just a little cut and a little bit more profit for the sellers and vendors here on Amazon, and for example also the entire e-commerce and retail business.
So you wouldn't be afraid of, like, as a seller, having your competitors reduced by, actually it's 2.5% if you go from the top. Like, would you, like, if you're in a competitive environment like Ojo products or whatever, would you not be concerned of like saying, okay, we might be losing because the algorithm is very sensitive to price changes, and maybe someone will be in terms of bestseller ranking will take our spot?
Yeah, when it comes to resellers, for example, this in this case, 2 or 3% matters a lot because this can kind of go about margin here. In this case, it could be dangerous, but when I'm talking about bigger vendors and brands and all these things, these 3% or 2.5% won't really matter a lot here. So this is just only assumption, and it's also just in what you said in the look in the glass. What was the saying? Just
Crystal ball or
the crystal ball,
yeah.
yeah. So just a look in the crystal ball here, it's really hard to tell. So in this case,
And to be honest, actually, I remember when Germany went from 16 to 19%, as specifically, I remember MediaMarkt
yeah,
had made, actually, they had increased all their prices in advance. And they did a big advertising when it changed, saying, hey, listen, look at us. We're not increasing our prices.
yeah.
But they had done it like a long time ago. So people hadn't felt it. So it's true that if you go down, you need to prepare to go up again. So maybe it's like, the benefit will not be seen, but the fact of increasing price will probably have an
Yeah, it
effect.
could
So,
be, could be, but it's just a kind of a game here. Let's see what your competitor does, and when he won't change anything. Like for example, you're selling a product for 20 euros, and after the first July, the price still stays the same. There's no really enforcement to just change this because this is just more profit on your side. And in this case, when talking about sellers, for example, it's always my first and every time recommendation to have this repricing or repricer tool always on. In this case, for example, you could just adjust some smaller rules here, like it could just go down 3% more like before. And in this case, the repricer does the entire work for you. So in this case, when everything would stay the same, remain the same, the repricer wouldn't change anything. And when your competitor goes down with the price, it's up to the repricer to change this, and you only have to observe this. So stay calm and look what your competitor does. And I assume there won't be that big change overall. So let's see what happens.
so yeah, it would be like check what's happening like for the first week of July and then react. One question on the tools: do you have any good tips on good repricing tools you've tested or you recommend or?
Yeah, what I won't or couldn't recommend is the Amazon Origin or built-in repricer. It's just really shitty. I don't really like this tool. When it comes to an external tool, I always recommend that this is just not an promoted post here or something, because the tool is really good. It's Seller Logic. It's one of the most important, I guess it was the first repricing tools here in Germany. I know the founder, but again, this is not a promotional saying.
No,
Or
no,
just,
it's like it's interesting. Like,
yeah, it's just a really honest opinion that, and I had a lot of good things here. And the one really big advantage about this tool is that they have a built-in refunding tool as well. And this is really kind of a game changer here because the refunding tool discovers a lot of refunds you could just get back from Amazon. And in some cases, we're talking about thousands of euros for 1 month. Depends on how big your business
yeah.
is and how many products you're selling and so on. But Seller Logic would be my one and really honest recommendation here.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I have another question. Someone who probably joined a bit later said we partly answered already, but do you have any insights on as to the amount of consumers shopping on Amazon Germany that live outside of Germany? For example, my wife's colleagues in Switzerland all shop on Amazon.de or .de and ship it to their relative friends home in Germany. So I think we already said that you believe it's probably 10% is like a guess,
Yeah.
and it's still much like the potential of addressing foreign customers on Amazon is still lesser than the Zalando, for example, or other websites probably
Yeah,
addressing really the German market. That
yeah,
was
it's a personal assumption. I really could tell this year, just to be honest, and I don't want to just tell any number to just tell a number. I couldn't tell because this is just out of my scope here. But I assume there could be some statistics. I had to look it up here after the webinar, for example, and maybe could have this fact check.
yeah, fact check. Yeah, we.
After this. But right now, sorry, there's no real serious answer about this for myself.
Great. I have a couple of other ones, and then we'll close it just to keep our 1 hour time limit. Bestseller last year in Prime Day 2019 was Bluetooth speakers in Germany. Would you believe that this year electronics will win the deal in Germany? Like your crystal ball again? What's your intuition?
This is really quite a good question because as Corona comes up and all these things changes like home office and also and all these things, we had this. I read the statistic what kind of products, at least in the search, went really up and like rockets was around playing and yeah spending time with the children and also about yeah home and garden things. But this is really seasonal. My assumption would be one of the real big winners will all about home office equipment. For example, microphones, webcams, and all these things. This will be the big winner of the big winners in this year because home office will still be a thing the entire year. So everybody needs equipment here. For example, also laptop or and just built-in camera device or something, so that they could just yeah, keep up with the work from the home office. So this would be my assumption. USB microphones, webcams, mobile camera devices, all things like this.
So time to do your shopping, guys, to be ready for that. I think our last question, and it's on the matching again, on the price matching. Is there a difference when it comes to price matching in Germany in comparison to EU-wide? Is there a different kind of price matching in Germany compared to the other countries?
Yeah, it depends on the category. And in some cases, the Germans would just spend more money in trusted products and trusted brands because when you look into the buying power in Germany, I assume it's just it's not an assumption. It's just what I know. That's completely a different situation in Italy and in Spain, for example, because there's also the delivery infrastructure is completely different to Germany. And I assume when we want to sell a product in Italy, Spain, Germany, for example, you could just have a completely different price in Germany. But yeah, this just you have to test this. And it could be really easy to have the different prices, price structure in the Seller Central, and also connect this with a repricer, for example, and just test it. But I assume you could just earn a lot of more money here in Germany because of potential higher prices.
Yeah. And would you say that the German prices on Amazon Germany are higher than in other markets?
Hard to say. I can't really tell. I had to look.
Because my experience as a French consumer is that prices typically are lower in Germany because of the costing structure in France, and that typically in Germany, yeah, prices are lower, and a lot of people don't want to do shopping in Germany rather than.
Yeah, maybe, but in this case, you have to compare the same things here. Like for example, when you sell an USB microphone, for example, for 40 bucks here in Germany. You can't compare it with Italy and Spain really seriously because a German potential buyer wouldn't look or compare the prices with Italy and Spain. They just only look into the German marketplace. So they compare only the competing products here in Germany with your other brands you're competing with. So in this case, it's all about the niche and category you're operating.
Yeah, and the amount of offering there is in the market.
Because nobody would say, okay, look here, Italy has the lower or higher price here, and I would like to buy it in Italy, for example. So it just is a matter of competing prices with different competitors in your business, in your niche.
And other parting gift for the last minute is, what do you think? How much business can you win with a repricing tool?
A lot, because it's not only about reselling. It's just a really must-have tool for resellers, for example. So that's our experience with some clients of ours. So winning the buy box and increasing the buy box the ratio is just really important to make
your conversion. Yeah. And for brands, do you think it makes sense for brands to have repricing tools, or
when you have a seller account, of course, because when you're a vendor, you don't have an
influence. No, but for brand, what I mean is for brand, because if you're the manufacturer, does it make for a reseller? Obviously, you're competing with a lot of people. But for the brand itself, does it make sense? Because the pricing stability will be a bit less
Yeah, but
Uh,
that's not a problem because we have different sensitive hours of buying here, for example. In some cases, and this is, I can't really explain this here on the scientific way or something, it's really hard to tell why in the late hours you could just raise the prices sometimes, and in the kind of noon hours or something, the price goes a little bit down. The repricer here could also be just adjusted or set it up for only one seller selling one brand, for example, like a brand has their own seller count, for example. In this case, the repricer would just measure the best price where, for example, the highest buying rate is. And of course, it's just no problem for the buyer that, for example, this microphone has the sales price for 40 euros in noon and maybe 45 euros or 42 euros in the afternoon or in the evening or in the night. So yeah, of course, could be just a good experiment. I would recommend this to do this. Yeah.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for the insights, for the time you devoted to that. I learned a lot of things. I hope everyone did. Thank you very much, Ronnie, and hopefully we'll meet again soon during your merchant days you're doing. Hopefully, so next year, are you hosting another event in Germany?
Maybe this year again. Let's see how Corona develops after the summer. But the merchant day date is also just set it right now. It's the May the 6th in next year. So in Hannover, it's still hopefully will happen there. Let's see how the situation is. But yeah, this will be the thing, and maybe we'll have some digital and virtual meetings and events after the summer. Let's see how the business goes and how much we have to do in the workload area here in our business.
Well, we'll make sure to be there in either cases.
Absolutely. Yeah, but again, thanks from my side, and thanks for having me here. It was a really good discussion. It's always a good thing to talk about my one and only famous thing here at Amazon. So yeah, this is really where my passion is.
We can feel that. Thank you very much, Ronnie. Have a
Yeah,
great evening.
thank you too.
Bye-bye. Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye.